All right, so what's going on, everybody? Hopefully, you enjoy your day. Hopefully, you're enjoying the NBA playoffs. Look, as a Celtics fan, this series against the Sixers has been a roller coaster. Lose game one, win games two and three, lose four and five, come down to a pivotal game six. Sixers are up 3-2 in the series. It's looking like, with the game back in Philly, of course, wasn't looking good, to be honest. They started off the game really well, then they hit that dry spell. Tatum was struggling. Sixers, who were down, I believe, at the half, came back, took the lead late in the third, I believe. Kind of seemed like once the Sixers had overcome the deficit, that was it. Looking a little grim. I mean, I'll keep it real with you guys about my teams. It was definitely edge of the seat, really wondering if the season was going to come to an end last night. Then something happened. Jason Tatum went most of the game. He was like 1 for 13 from the field. You could already see the narratives being written. If you're on Twitter, you saw the tweets going out all over the place. Tatum's not the guy. He doesn't have it in him. Jaylen Brown is the better player. Tatum this, Tatum that, whatever. All it took was, one play. I believe it was a screen and roll between Smart and Brogdon. No, I think Smart and Horford. Pick and pop. Smart kicked it to Horford, who kicked it to Brogdon on the wing. Then Brogdon gave it to Tatum in the corner. He had Embiid on him. He hit a three. Then all of a sudden, Tatum went off. He had 16 points in the fourth quarter. The Sixers themselves had 14 points in the fourth quarter, which led to a 95-86 Game 6 win. So now we're getting to Game 7, back in Boston. It was a really good team win for the Celtics. They got a lot of balance in their scoring. Tatum had 19, Brown had 17, Smart had 22, Rob had 10, Derek White had 9, Brogdon chipped in 16. So it wasn't necessarily a ordinary Tatum Brown type of game. They played really good defense. I mean, they held the Sixers to 86 points. That's like 90s basketball there. 95, you guys said the Sixers did well defensively. The Celtics only scored 95. They're a team that can easily put up 110, 115 on a nightly basis, 120. So it was definitely a game of struggle. But that's kind of what this series has been. Philly and Boston are two teams that play pretty good defense. Outside of, look, you would think a Sixers team that has Harden out there a lot. We know Harden defensively what he lacks, but the way the Sixers are built, if you get by Harden, you usually have to meet Embiid at the rim, and Embiid's a really good rim protector. So both teams play defense a little differently, but they're both really good at it. Going into the game, like I said, there were a lot of Celtics fans that weren't feeling good about it because it wasn't Philly, and we've seen how games in Philly can go. But it was just a really gritty, wasn't the prettiest basketball. Not in the least. Not the least. Wasn't pretty. They got it done. These situations, elimination game, That's what matters. You just get it done. And that's what they did. Like I said, Tatum went off in the fourth. Most of the game, he was non existent, looked awful offensively. He did chip in other ways. He had 9 rebounds. He had 6 assists as well. So his final line of 19, 9, and 6. It's not the worst. It's not what you expect, but it's not like the bad shooting completely took him out of everything. That would have been an issue for me. He took good shots. He wasn't making them. He took some awful shots, but that's just how his night went. But when they needed him, he showed up. That's what you want your superstars and all that to do. If they're struggling and your team can keep you in the game, which is what the other Celtics did, when it's time to win the game, that's when you have to step up. He did. But that leads me to my first question. Is Tatum being unfairly analyzed by the media? I think in some aspects, yes, because I think all this talk about him not being the guy seems a little prisoner of the moment-ish. Because, since Tatum's gotten into the league, I don't know if he's missed the playoffs. He's been to a few Eastern Conference finals. He's been to a finals. And just last year, when they were down 3-2, had to go win Game 6. Then I believe Game 7 was in Milwaukee. Tatum went off in Game 7, got the win that pushed them to the next round. We've seen Tatum have these moments in the playoffs where he's put together really big games to get Celtics wins. So now, because of a first half or a couple of games in this series, people sitting here talking about him not being that guy, I thought it was way out of bounds. This continued narrative of trying to compare Tatum and Brown to each other, I feel like, is an old, tired narrative where it's like, oh, they need to split them up. Which one's better? Which one this? They don't like each other. Blah, blah, blah. Look, both guys are very quiet. They're not doing stuff off the court to get the wrong type of attention. They're both still young, which is one of the reasons why I don't get where this is coming from. I'm not going to call names of certain people in the media because you probably know who it is, who've been critical of this team, which I'm not saying you can't be critical, but come with something better. All the Missoula talk, I don't know, first-year coach in a playoff run, yeah, he's going to make mistakes. It's not the end of the world. That was another narrative. Cannot stand. And it's not even just national media. Some of this is from, I don't want to call out their fandom, but some Celtics followers and fans who are overly critical of this team as well. I get it. For fan bases, you live and die with your team. You go overboard with every loss. You blow out of proportion every win. I get it. But at the end of the day, be smart about it. Look, if they lose Game 7, they win Game 7, okay. If they win, now you're preparing for an Eastern Conference Finals, which we'll have to go through this again because we know some fans will assume they'll probably sweep that team, even though they won't. But that's the expectations this team has brought upon itself. I get that as well. But we got to keep stuff in perspective. That's it. They were down in this series not because it's not like it was a situation where Philly, some scrub team in Boston, was just blowing it. Philly has the MVP of the league. Pretty good player in Joel Embiid. Harden, I give him all the credit. Surprised me for a couple of games in this series where he went off. Then he played like the Harden I know in quite a few of these games. So I can't necessarily say that I can put that squarely on the Celtics. That probably says more about Harden, who, mind you, with all the attention on Jason Tatum, James Harden scored 13 points last night. 13. And Embiid gave you 26, Maxey gave you 26. They did their job. Where was Harden? But no, we want to talk about Jason Tatum's legacy and all this kind of stuff. Tobias Harris, he had a pretty good game last game, I think. Where was he? He went back to the Tobias Harris that most Sixers and NBA fans wonder, how did he get the money he got? He had 2 points. But we're talking about Jason Tatum's legacy. I mean, not even saying like Tobias Harris' legacy is on the line or anything. I don't even know what his legacy is, but like, let's calm down. And like I said, I know the criticism is going to be there if this team doesn't win a ring. I get it, because that's going to happen. If they lose in the finals, they'll make the finals or whatever. It'll be the same narratives coming up again. Should they split the Jays up and all this? Like, give me a break. Also, congratulations to the Jays for making all NBA teams. I don't know if that's talent you want to split up necessarily, but, keep the narrative going if you want to. And especially Jaylen Brown. I felt like he could have been on an all-NBA team some other years maybe. He got on it this year. Biggest Jaylen Brown fan you'll find. So I'm definitely happy for him. Now that means he can get his Supermax, which I believe the Celtics will give him. Once again, I'm not going to react to that until it happens. But I'm just making a prediction now. You'll probably get some more of Tatum and Brown together. Once again, that's just me. But, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I think people have gone a little overboard with Tatum. You can be critical of him, but keep it within reason. Yes, well within your job as an analyst to criticize his first half, his third quarter, because he did look out of sorts. But he more than made up for it with a really big fourth quarter and made some really big, tough shots in that quarter. So, all things considered, we have a Game 7. That's where we are. Like I said, I could probably rant about this question for about 2 hours. I'm not going to do that to you. Let's talk about Joe Mazzulla, who's another guy who's been under the microscope for whatever reason. Some of these people, Stephen A. Smith, are still bent out of shape over the Ime Udoka thing, like the Celtics are the one who committed the infraction or whatever you want to call it. But whatever. Not like it kept Udoka from getting a job. He's now the new coach in Houston. I think it was a great choice for Houston. I hope he does well down in Houston. He's not the Celtics coach anymore. Get over it. Mazzulla, for learning on the job, has done really well. He brings a different, view of the team than Udoka. He's been public about it. He wants his team to put up a lot of threes, which frustrates a lot of fans. I get it, but that's what the coach wants. Because we've seen at times when they are hitting them, this team can blitz anybody. They'll blow out any team in the league. I think Mazzulla just wants them to be confident enough to be that team night in and night out. Of course, you're not going to blow out every team 82 games in a season, then for 16 games in the playoffs. Not going to happen, but you got to keep the same mentality. So that's one. The whole, he doesn't call enough timeouts. Okay, they were the 2 seed in the East. They're a game away from making it back to the Eastern Conference Finals. Get over it. He's actually developed as a coach as the year has gone on. It's only his first year. for a first-year coach with the situation with Udoka in the offseason and you just being appointed the coach, of course, now he is the coach, but he was the interim for a while. That's a tough situation for a lot of people to be in. And he's done well with it. So I feel like Mazzulla has done a great job. Now, look, some of you might watch this and be like, oh, you're just a homer. Then I guess it is what it is at this point. But he did make an adjustment. He shortened his rotation last night. Only played 7 guys. We didn't see Grant Williams, I believe, which I guess was probably the main rotation guy who didn't play. But he went with 7 guys. Got the job done. Now game 7, we'll see what he does if he plays Grant. I'm assuming he probably will, but we'll just have to see. Or maybe he just sticks with this. Because we saw Rob Williams, who made that change, put Rob in the starting lineup, brought Derek White off the bench. So he went with a double big of Rob Williams and Horford. It worked. I'm assuming game 7, he's going to keep the same lineup because why mess with a good thing right now? I also assume Tatum is going to have a similar game in a game 7. So, Mazzulla, great job last night coaching. Tatum had a great fourth quarter. You know, right now it's all good in Boston for the most part. I still saw some people critical of the team after the win. I'm not gonna hurt my brain dealing with that right now. Look at the other side though. Your MVP, Joel Embiid, last 4 minutes of the game, didn't touch the ball on offense. Analyze that. And I think it's going to be easy for people to be like, Doc Rivers, what are you doing? Because we know Doc is another guy who isn't favorable to Sixers fans right now. But I can't even blame Doc Rivers for that. You got to blame the people on the court, namely James Harden and Joel Embiid. James Harden is your point guard. He should notice he has the MVP right there. Either you tell him to get down on the block, tell him put his hand up and throw it down to him, see what happens, or if he's open on the perimeter, get it to him, see if he can do something. Between the two of them, 4 minutes without touching the ball should not happen. I'd put probably 85% of that on Embiid, 15 on Harden, because if Embiid gets in the block, puts his hand up, somebody would throw him a pass, I'm assuming. But a lot of that stretch, we saw Embiid kind of hanging out at the three-point line. So maybe that's why he didn't get the ball. I don't know. But if you have the MVP 4-minute stretch and an opportunity for you to knock out a rival, move to the Eastern Conference Finals, you got to get the ball to Embiid at some point. See what he can do with the ball. Because the Sixers only scored 14 points in the fourth quarter. So their offense without Embiid the last 4 minutes didn't work either. So why not just throw it down and see if he gets a foul call or something? Very simple. So that should be worrying going into a game 7. Did the team, when the Celtics came back after the Sixers took the lead and the Celtics got back in the lead, did the team quit on the game? Did the team shrink under the spotlight? Those are questions you got to ask. I'm assuming for game 7, Philly will come out, put together a good effort. I also could see a situation where if the Celtics are up double digits at the half, maybe this Sixers team shrinks again and loses kind of in the fashion like Phoenix did last night in a game they needed to have. Denver got a sizable lead and Phoenix didn't fight back. So that's definitely a question you got to wonder. But last question before I get out of here. Who wins game 7? I said this when they were down 3-2. If the Celtics win game 6 in Philly, I fully expect them to win Game 7 in Boston. They won Game 6 in Philly, so I got Boston in Game 7. I think they win by double digits, to be honest with you. That's just me. But you let me know down in the comment section what you think. Who do you have winning this series at this point? Where do you put the blame for Game 6 of Embiid not touching the ball in the last 4 minutes? Like I said, I say 85% Embiid, 15% Harden and the other guys on the court. I say I should probably revise that. 85% Embiid. We go 14% Harden and the other players, 1% Doc Rivers. He is the coach, I guess, though. Could have called timeout, run a play. I don't know, but that's mainly Embiid. So let me know what you think about that, and also, you think Tatum is being unfairly analyzed by the media. So, would love to hear from you in the comment section. Really appreciate it. And we don't know when Game 7 will be yet. I know it's on Sunday. We just don't know the time yet. Depending on the time, I plan on doing a play-by-play again, which the last one was so much fun. Appreciate you that did tune in. So I would definitely do another one for a Game 7. I mean, it's a Game 7. You got to do one. But it depends on the time. We won't know the time, I believe, until Lakers play Friday night. Because if that series goes to a Game 7, they would play Sunday as well. And obviously that would be like the late game. So that would push the Celtics game to earlier. I mean, with Denver beating Phoenix, if Phoenix had won, it would have been a triple header on Sunday. And then I don't know how they would have worked the times out at that point. I guess the Celtics probably would have been earlier in the day, then maybe go Denver, Phoenix, and then Golden State, LA as the nightcap. So I guess if the Lakers get it done, then I could see the Celtics probably playing around 6, 7 o'clock. If Golden State wins, then I'm assuming maybe the game is like 4:30. That'd be my guess. I don't know. Either way, have your notification bell clicked. If you're, watch over on Twitch, same thing there. Because once I find out the time of the game, I'll decide right then and there if I'm going to do a play-by-play or not. But probably bank on it. So, thanks again. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy this episode. Like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. Notification bell as well. Really appreciate you. And as I always say, be safe out there. God bless. I'll catch you in the next episode. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.